Warning! This program contains irrefutable facts, unapologetically biased opinions, and shameless homerism for the Southeastern Conference and its teams. Misguided fans of other leagues and teams may find some of the information in this broadcast to be disillusioning, deflating, or even offensive. You've been warned. Kip, Terry, Tony, Legend, Case, and our special guests, we own the airwaves. Saturday mornings, 8 a.m. on Jocks 94.5. It's game time. Saturdays, 10:30, ABC 3340 television. Get ready for the SEC on ABC and get in the starting lineup. And on Sundays, 9 a.m. on Jocks, it is Kip and Terry after a great day of football, the morning after. Football weekend, total information domination.
Welcome back to the starting lineup. You never know who's going to join us in the starting lineup. Kip Keefer, Tony Curry, and our special guest.
You know I'm always going to join.
Well, I know you're always going to be there. And I always ask the guest, if you were in a starting lineup, a baseball lineup, 1 through 9, where would you place Mark Ingram, athletic director of the UAB Blazers in the house? Where would you place yourself in a lineup, baseball lineup?
Well, I don't have enough speed to be leadoff.
Yeah, I can see Mark. Chicks take the long ball. I can see Mark going for.
I might be 5. I might be your 5-man.
Maybe 5-man?
Yeah,
definitely not an 8, not a utility guy, but certainly at the top.
Guy, but somewhere maybe 5.
You could clean some bases up, my friend. It's good to see you, man. Mark Ingram, of course, athletic director of the UAB Blazers. Trent Dilfer getting ready for his 3rd season for Blazer Nation. Of course, Andy Kennedy doing quite well down at the basketball program. Seems like he's in a championship game every single year. Looking forward to basketball season coming around the corner. We'll start with UAB football. And I'm just going to ask you a question that you and I have discussed many times on the UAB Director's Chair, which is a show I do on the Tony Curry Radio Network. And thank you again for being here in the starting lineup with Kip Keefer and myself. There are 34 teams in the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah.
There are about 100 other teams out there going into this football season based on what we've seen over the offseason with the transfer portal, the NIL, and the House versus NCAA. What's the feeling of those 100 teams if you're not in the Big Ten or the SEC right now?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, look, first of all, we're very encouraged about the season. Coach Dilfer and his staff are. We're excited about the opportunity to play again and get on the field. We feel like recruiting in the offseason went really, really well for us. We improved in a lot of areas of weakness for us, starting with the defense and then up front on both sides of the ball. One of the challenges, I think, for all of us now in what I'd call the group of 6, so this is not the SEC, not the Big Ten, not the ACC or Big 12, is that, we've always had 20 to 25 graduates. That's normal. But now we're also seeing 20 to 25 transfers, roughly. And of those transfers, half of them didn't play. So they're trying to find an opportunity to play, which is understandable. But the other half is your top 10 to 15 guys. So now you're trying to replace that, and that's really hard to do, and also keep things like team chemistry and camaraderie and just this understanding of how we do things here, wherever here may be, not just UAB. That's a common issue everywhere. And so trying to infuse for us this year 48 new faces in our locker room and get them to get along with everybody that, was on the team a year ago and everybody to understand this is how we eat, this is how we dress, this is how we stretch, this is how we line up, all these things, how we travel, because the senior leadership, for the most part, has moved on. And like I said, it either graduated or maybe transferred out. So there's a lot of little things that the coaches have to constantly clean up to be able to build a championship culture like we all are accustomed to. So I feel good about it, but that's the biggest challenge for everybody.
Well, and obviously the money's always the big sign there. Everyone's worried about that, certainly at the group of 5 or the group of 6 level. But something else that I think a lot of people are concerned about, obviously, is the fact that you're going to have a lot of teams that perhaps can't compete with the big boys that have a $20 million payroll. How do you tell your players, hey, listen, we can compete, knowing that maybe we'll have a 16-team playoff next season, and the small guys like the Tulanes and the SMUs can get in?
We got to handle our business. So we don't need to worry about what a Ohio State, Texas, or an Alabama has to spend on players. What we need to worry about is what do we have competitively within our conference and the people we're going to play against.
Gotcha.
And so that's the most important thing. And we're in a competitive space there.
You know, Tony mentioned the concept that all of us have to deal with, no matter what our occupation or our personal pursuits are. And it's the bottom line, it's the money.
Oh, yeah.
And I imagine, Mark, it's got to be extremely difficult for your program and programs in that group of 6. That's got to be a constant concern. So how critical every year in scheduling, you guys are making a trip to Knoxville. How key is that to making the bottom line add up, to making those kinds of appearances, where you guys have gotten the reputation over the years as being a bit of a giant killer?
Yeah.
Does that make it more difficult to schedule those games?
Well, I don't know that it's more difficult. What will be difficult in scheduling those games is if the SEC, for example, chooses to go to a 9-game conference schedule, which they're debating right now. So we'll see how that turns out. We're certainly fingers crossed that they stay at 8. If they go to 9, it doesn't just hurt UAB. I mean, it hurts. There's a ripple effect nationally.
Sure.
That model really, really hurts, because you've got 16 teams in that league that would eliminate 1 game. So that's 16 games of people like us that don't exist anymore. And all of us rely on those extra revenues.
Well, if I was in your chair, it would, and I'm sure you're above this common annoyance that I would feel, but it bothers me that, and it's not just here in Alabama, it's in all kinds of different places, when they bring in teams from, I think Southern Illinois or somebody's on Alabama's schedule this year. Do you ever have a minute and think that should be us? Why don't we get to go to Tuscaloosa?
Well, we try to schedule as best we can teams like that. You mentioned we're going to Knoxville this year. It's a drive for our fans. Now, we played in Miami a few years ago, and that was a lot of fun. But to the best of our ability, we were in Arkansas. We've been to Texas A&M. We've been to Georgia
recently.
Twice. Mm-hmm. This will be our 2nd trip to Knoxville. We've been to LSU. Trying to keep it in a reasonable distance. Scheduling is harder than people want to give credit. I mean, it's not just the willingness to play. It's, are you available that weekend when we're available? And, do you need a home? Oh, well, we're both available, but I need a home game. Oh, you also need a home game. So we're both available, but we both need home games. You can't both play at home. So, there's just, it's a bigger deal than that. And there's good, I would say this, the interaction that I have with the other ADs at all levels is always positive. I think as much as we all compete on the field and on the court, when it comes to administrative challenges, there's really good idea sharing. There's a real team approach amongst us as professionals to try to help one another.
Athletic director for the UAB Blazers joins us here. Mark Ingram right here on the starting lineup. You never knew he was going to join us in the starting lineup with Kip Keefer and Tony Curry. A little bittersweet, I guess, or maybe just sweet to go back to Tennessee. Of course, you used to work up at Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm assuming maybe as an athletic director you had something to do with this gig coming up on the 4th week of the season?
Well, I went to school and played football at Tennessee. I know all fans there now, when I say that curse word of booing, that's okay. I understand. I'm used to that. But, yeah, and then I worked there on 2 different occasions.
And people think you won the Heisman Trophy.
And, well, you don't know that
that's
I did.
a plus. Yeah.
You don't know that I did. Yeah, I'm the only guy that that has been wrongfully accused of winning the Heisman Trophy and winning the Masters.
Oh, my gosh. That's right.
Sport coat. And when I do that, that's the joke I get with that one. But, yeah, going back there is fun. We have a lot of friends in Knoxville, a lot of familiar faces, whether it's fans, donors, or just, community friends and that kind of thing. So that's fun. But, again, we start with where can we go that's in a reasonable distance, who's available, and we were fortunate that they
I'll be there.
Playing us.
I'm going to be up there. We'll beat Calhoun's across the street. We'll make our way across the interstate and get ready to go. It's going to be unbelievable.
I think the schedule this year is really challenging. I mean, it's a good schedule. You've got both Army and Navy and their kind of resurrection periods where their programs have improved a lot the last couple of years. You've got South Florida, who's a pretty quality opponent. Yeah. Memphis is supposed to be really good. Tennessee. I mean, the schedule is really competitive and very enticing, I think. And if you have some success this year against that schedule, I think that's a lot of credibility.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We start our first game August 28th. Is a Thursday night against Alabama State. Mm-hmm. I love playing Alabama State, Alabama A&M. They have awesome fans.
Sure.
They love coming to play, and they show up. So please come out and watch the Blazers on August 28th. It's a Thursday night. Then you mentioned we're going to have South Florida and Army at home and Memphis at home. So
it's gonna be a great season.
A lot of really good home opponents, and not easy, but a great,
a good schedule.
UABsports.com, UABsports.com. Get your tickets now. Alabama State, the first game coming up on Thursday night. Mark, thank you so much. Appreciate
get out and support this team, folks, because they've always done a good job there. This program came literally back from the ashes and deserves your support. So I want to take in a couple games this year, Tony.
Trent Dilfer's third season. It's going to be a special one for the UAB Blazers. This is a starting lineup.
Feel the winning vibes at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, where every step you take leads to excitement.
Bring on the good times. You don't want to miss this.
Top-notch games and a vibrant atmosphere. The Birmingham Racecourse Casino is the place to be. Another incredible win.
Where the winning never stops.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino. You can be a winner, too.
Hey, Tony, we got a brand new segment starting this week called Off the Wall. I'm looking for unusual ways to call attention to some stories that get my attention. And this time we're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves, the 2025 Braves, who were expected to be a contender for the World Series. Well, they're contending not to finish last in the National League. But they got a most valuable player who we're going to highlight today, the guy on the field that has stood out there, letting us announce who the MVP is. Right here on the starting lineup, let's take a look.
Pleasure for God Bless America and Timothy Miller.
As we celebrate our great nation with the singing of God Bless America, performed by Atlanta opera tenor Timothy Miller.
While the storm clouds gather,
far across the sea,
let us swear allegiance to a land that's free.
Let us all be grateful
for a land so fair.
As we raise our voices in a solemn prayer.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave. It's the legend, your All-American. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 week away from the Alabama Crimson Tide. Y'all know what I say this time of the year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Sing with me, Bear. Y'all heard Bear back there singing. It's the most wonderful time of the year. And I know you're looking at my t-shirt. Football weekend information domination right here every Saturday at 10:30 all throughout the season. The starting lineup will be here bringing it to you 100%. Like TD Jake says, get ready for the football season. And this Thursday down at Regents Park, we'll have the WJOX party down there, the preseason party, and we will be passing these t-shirts out. You can go to Jock's website and figure out how to win a ticket to it. Thanks to Keefer and my connections, I somehow got a ticket. I will be there, but you can go to Jock's and figure out how to do that. But let's talk about the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yes, it's a new season. And I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I am excited. I am excited. This week, the AP poll came out and ranked Alabama number 8 in the nation. The coaches came out and ranked Alabama number 8 in the nation. But the Legend poll came out this morning, and we're number 1 in the Legend poll, baby. We're number reason why Alabama can't win a national championship this year, baby. We got all the ingredients, and it starts with Ty Simpson, named the starting quarterback this week at the University of Alabama. This is like being a president. This is like being a king. This is a position that only few ever get to walk. We're talking Namath. We're talking Stabler. Oh, I'm spitting there. Oh, it's getting crazy. Football season. Whoa. I get crazy. I get like Ric Flair. Whoa. I get like Flair up in here. Limousine Robin. Oh, baby. That's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Crazy. I'm crazy. I'm a nut. But I'm screwed on the right boat. And that's the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let me catch my breath. Let's talk about this team. Ty Simpson. He's got weapons all over the field, ladies and gentlemen. Jam Miller, Ryan Hollywood Williams, Isaiah Horton, Cole Adams, remember that name, a slot receiver that's going to tear it up this year, and an offensive line. I'm spitting. I'm crazy about Alabama. I'm spitting. I love Alabama football. An offensive line that's ready to get in the dirt and tear it up, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about Caden Proctor. I'm talking about Jaden Roberts. I'm talking about Parker Bradsfield. Oh, it's going to be a great year. We're back, baby. We lost Nick. I thought it was over, but Bear said just wait. Coach DeBoer, listen to me. You are the coach of the greatest machine to ever step on a football field. Get some fire in your bones. Get some glory. Get some hallelujah in your bones, brother. And tell this team what I would tell them if I was standing before them. We are the Alabama Crimson Tide. It's a new season. We don't lose to Florida State. We don't lose to Vandy. We don't lose to Oklahoma. We are Alabama, and it's a season, and we're ready to rumble. Get that fire. This season going to be crazy here on the starting lineup. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Bear and the legend. Sports insane.
Southern Precision Staffing, one of our great sponsors right here on the starting lineup. Kai Gregory, of course, is also part of our K4Wins, K4Wins.com site. It's a great little site. We actually do a little gambling, a little handicapping, and we're hitting about 68, 69% this year, so we're doing really well. Southern Precision Staffing, though, is great. If you have contract work, skill work, plumbing, digging, welding, whatever it is, and you need some staffing, man, check out Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828, 205-682-2828. Knock down, drag out the best in the business right here in Hoover, but they serve the United States of America. They're fantastic. Where your word, your handshake still means something. And our good friends at Sasquatch Toys and Comics. We'll get Seth back in here. No more alligators, but now he's got over 300,000 comics down there off Citation Lane. It's the most amazing toy store I've ever been in. You walk in, it just keeps going and going and going. You'll spend a week in the place. You won't see the same thing twice. Check out Sasquatch Toys and Comics.
Sounds great. We've got K4Wins.com. You need to check it out. We are cranking out great information every single day. Baseball season, and now with football right around the corner.
Man, I can't wait.
We are turning our emphasis to college and professional football. If you like sports investing, Tony, and you're not on K4Wins, apparently you don't like winning.
No doubt. If you just get on there, give us a shot for a week, 2 weeks. If you don't like it, go do your thing. Doesn't cost you anything. Just do it.
Yeah.
And I promise you, you're going to walk away. You're going to have some extra cash. Wouldn't it be nice around this holiday season, around the football season, the bowl season, not thinking to myself, okay, what am I capable of losing, but how much could I win to start the 2026 season? All you got to do is play our plays. We're good to go. We got Case Keefer, who, of course, at Ground Zero in Las Vegas, he knows everything about theirs. So he's going to blow our bets up, or he's going to love them. If he loves them, they're good to go.
And this just in, Case and Tony are outstanding, and I do well. Kai's had a long background. So the K4, the 4Ks, crank out about 70% winners against the spread. So it's something you need to check out.
K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com.
Let's hear a quick word from our Saturday morning show on Jocks 94.5. Game Time, the morning after, debuts on the 25th for its 9th season. That's right around the corner. Let's take a quick look.
And tonight in college football, Alabama gets a resounding win in Baton Rouge, demolishing the LSU Tigers 22-13. Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe was unleashed and dominated the Tigers with a career high of 185 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns.
When it's game time, everybody is listening.
Hey, it's Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I'm a longtime sports bettor and sports betting writer, along with assistant sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. Thought we'd do the segment a little bit differently this week. I think we've touched on every major conference of college football going into the year, talked about some NFL, talked about some awards, gave out a ton of bets, and I've always been kind of wedging in the big topic that all the other guys are talking about at the end. Let's just flip that on its head today. Why not we get into some games? Let's handicap some games. I'm going to talk about each of these 4 big games that you're going to hear the rest of the starting lineup talk about. I'm going to look at them from a betting perspective, as that's always what I'm doing. I think I have some interesting ways that I arrived at these games, some interesting bets that I ultimately made. So I'm going to go with all of those, but I thought maybe one bonus one to start out is I know everyone wants some week 0 action, so let's break down a week 0 game first. In Dublin, Ireland, it is Farmageddon, Iowa State, Kansas State. Now, if you saw my Big 12 segment that I kind of alluded to, we did all the conferences, you probably know which side I'm on here. I love Kansas State this year. I am down on Iowa State. That being said, I hate this line, 3.5. Even worse in the NFL, but especially in college football, you just never really want to be laying 3.5. Now, this was 2.5 a lot over the summer. I never quite jumped in. I was a little late on the game lines this year. Just started betting them this week. Now at 3.5, I got to say, some sports books have not moved the money line enough in accordance with the point spread. Now, I know some people want to pay lesser juice, but I found here in Las Vegas, there's still a couple sportsbooks that have minus 150 on Kansas State. You don't even have to do the math yourself. You can just find a push chart, find a calculator online. Like a 3.5 point favorite should be probably like at least minus 165, minus 170. So I went ahead and bet Kansas State minus 150. I'm fine at minus 160. Minus 165 is where it starts getting a little bit stranger. I really like that here. And what's always weird in Dublin, you don't know what the field conditions are going to be like. There's already rain in the forecast, probably a low scoring game. So I'd rather not deal with that hook. 3, not the most key number in college football. That's 7, as it's a little higher scoring than the NFL, where 3 is the most key number. But just to skip that 3.5, I'm going to lay a little bit more juice. I took Kansas State minus 150. Now the 4 big games, and I do have a little bit of a disagreement on the games that were included, because I don't think one of them belongs. I think it's a clear, if anyone's picking against one of them, I think they're just doing it for a hot take to stand out, because I think there's one game that's clear. But anyways, let's start. I like to go in order of when the kickoffs are. That's just the way I do my stuff. That's the way my spreadsheets, my documents are laid out. So let's start on Friday night, Auburn and Baylor. Now, if you've heard some other things I've done or listened to me talk, you're probably going to say, why are you flip-flopping on this game? Because months ago, I kind of liked this spot for Baylor. I'm high on the Bears this year, and maybe I'm not even high on the Bears. I'll tell you I'm high on Sawyer Robertson, their quarterback. I think one of the most underrated quarterbacks in the nation. They paid up to keep him there, and I looked at this spot, home underdog, Baylor, Friday night opening week. I liked the Bears, and then it's just kind of started to flip as I dove more into both of these teams. I just think Auburn has such an advantage everywhere else. I think this roster is so much more talent-rich that I feel like Auburn should probably be a little bit of a favorite here. I came up a little bit higher than 3, kind of in that 3.5, maybe a juice 3 range. For me, you saw an interesting thing in the market a couple weeks ago. A service gave out Baylor as an underdog play, took a bunch of money, went all the way to Auburn as an underdog, and what has happened since? The Auburn money has come back in. It's got to about minus 1.5. Now, which kind of shows that the market's thinking the way I am. I like to see that agreement. I did a similar thing to what I did in the Dublin game here. I went with the money line. I took Auburn minus 120. Still think you can find some minus 125s. I like the Tigers here. I ultimately think Auburn gets the win there. Next, I think the biggest game, the Saturday kickoff, Ohio State and Texas. Even though this is the best game, as is often the case, I don't have a strong betting angle here. I think this is really close. 2 great teams, probably the 2 highest paid teams in the nation, both having to rebuild a lot. I think more than maybe even the polls and some of the consensus will give you, I think, in the SP Plus returning production numbers, which I think are widely accepted as probably the most accurate. I believe Ohio State's 92nd in the nation, Texas 82nd, so about the same. I think maybe Texas just slightly better on paper, but that's kind of outweighed by going to Columbus. I made this 2.5. It's 2.5. I have no idea what to do here. I'll go with Ohio State falling back on that home field advantage. Next, this is the game that I don't even think should be in here. I just think Alabama crushes Florida State. If you've watched me, you know I'm super high on Alabama. Florida State, I mean, they're going to be better than last year, but how could you not be better than a 2-win season? But you go back and you look at the history of a team that's gone from that highest of highs, undefeated season, to the lowest of lows, 2-win season last year. They can bounce back a little bit, but they hardly ever get right back on that trajectory where they're like a national title contender. I just don't see it with Florida State this year. I'm really high on Alabama. I get we had to include it for the market, but this game's kind of a laugher to me. I like Alabama. I bet Alabama minus 12.5. I make this closer to 17.5. That is a huge delta, probably too much, but that just goes to show kind of my bias. I'm really high on Alabama this year, so give me Alabama. The final game we are going to talk about, the nightcap. I can't wait for this one. LSU and Clemson. If you've listened or read anything I've said all summer, you probably know which way I'm leaning here. I think Clemson is slightly overrated. I think LSU slightly underrated. I think we saw Garrett Nussmeier, the injury, and all the fallout from that. We have seen this number boost big time from 2.5 all the way up to as high as 4.5. Earlier this week. Now mostly 4, at least here in Vegas, all you can get is 4. I'm still going to take the 4 with the LSU and take the leap of faith that this Nussmeier injury isn't as big as it sounds. I really think LSU has the more talent. I think this is a coin flip game. I make it like Clemson minus 1.5, so give me LSU plus 4. So to recap my outright winners, LSU, Alabama, Ohio State, and Auburn. Let's see what the rest of the guys think.
Welcome back to Starting Lineup. It is time for our 4-team Superfecta.
First football picks of the year.
First 4 games of the year. I'm so excited. I know Legend's excited too. Kip, you want to start us off?
I will. You got to pick the winner straight up of these 4 games. First of all, Auburn-Baylor. I'm taking Baylor. Sorry, Auburn fans. I think it's a daunting task on the road. Second, Alabama-Florida State. I think it'll be a tougher game. I would not advocating giving up 12 or 13 points, but the Tide will come out the winner. So I got Auburn and Alabama. I've got Texas and Ohio State to pick now. And I put a lot of stock in the home team. I think Texas probably has better personnel, but I'm taking Ohio State here. And at Clemson LSU, Brian Kelly has never won an opening game at LSU, and I don't think it begins here. So my superfecta is Baylor, Alabama, Ohio State, and Clemson.
Legend, what you got?
I agree totally with Kip, except for one thing. Texas goes in. Remember the name Anthony Simmons. He will wreak havoc on Ohio State. I have Alabama. I have Baylor. I have Texas. And I have Clemson. LSU don't never win week 1, Tony.
Oh, yeah, that Clemson ticket's run about $1,800, by the way. If you're a student in the student section, you're sleeping outside for the next couple of weeks. It's unbelievable. It's one of the hottest tickets I've ever seen. I've got Clemson win the national championship, so I'm going Clemson all the way against that first game. Of course, I also like the Texas. Am I feeling okay? Am I doing all right? I like them Texas Longhorns. I'm all in on the Marchie Manning thing. Maybe it's because he's got the same growing muscles that his old man had. He can throw a football. I'm going with the Texas boys. I'll also take with Alabama. I think they can go ahead and cover even if it's up to 14 on FSU. I don't think FSU is going to be coming back anytime soon. And I'm going to go with those Auburn Tigers. I know this is a very interesting game, a fun game to be kicking off the season with a team like Baylor. We don't really do that. But I do think that Hugh Freeze has got the length and the girth to pull it off. So I'm going Auburn, Alabama, Texas, and the Clemson Tigers, your national championship.
Man, how good is it to pick games?
That's awesome.
Man, it feels so good.
How good is it to hang out with 2 legends like these fellas?
Oh my gosh!
You know, I missed.
This is the legend saying that.
I missed the days of telling the wife I was going to Home Depot to pick up a couple of boxes of screws so I could call my man back from the lumber.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, let me have Bama minus 13. Let me have Auburn plus 8. Yeah, I used to love those days. It was great. Starting lineup, you never know who's going to join us next week. It is James Spann. Yes, we're in the weather next week.
The rock star of Alabama.
The rock star. And we couldn't think of a better guest to have on right before the football season starts right here on the Starting Lineup. Thanks for watching.